Welcome to a new episode of Catching Up with Coach. I'm Coach Roach, and we are had a big night yesterday for the Toronto Raptors. Scottie with 25 rebounds, which is a lot of rebounds, certainly for anybody. He passed Andre Drummond's season record this year. I think Drummond had 24 rebounds in the game, and Scottie tied the franchise record for the amount of rebounds in the game. He tied Bismack Biyombo. But let's put this into context for a second. Bismack Biyombo had about two roles on the team. One, bring energy. Two, rebound. Block shots and rebounds and get your garbage points where you get them. I don't mean garbage in a negative sense. Everybody needs a guy who can put back garbage baskets for a team. Hard to win if you don't have that guy. And Biyombo, during that year, he was that guy. And they got him paid for the Orlando Magic the next year. I believe he signed like a $50 million contract over 4 or 5 seasons. Scottie had 25 rebounds. Certainly he's capable of putting up double-digit rebounds per night. I know he's averaging about 8.5 rebounds on the season. And hey, cool cat, thank you very much. Thank you. I had a great holidays as well, a good Christmas with my family and friends. I really appreciate it. I just unfortunate I had to drive on the 401 when I came back, but it's all good. It's all good. But yeah, Scottie Barnes last night, 25 rebounds, 23 points. RJ Barrett returning. He had 10 points in the first quarter. He had 10 of the 38 points, I believe, in the first quarter went to RJ Barrett. And then after that, didn't play much, didn't really get too much of his offense going. But it's good to see him back because this team, quite frankly, is better when he is in the lineup. We are a much better team. There's more rim pressure. Before he went out, we were a top 10 offense. While he was out, we were basically last in the NBA in offense. So not to say all of that is because of RJ Barrett, but certainly some of it is. He makes an impact. Rim pressure, shot making, which is something he's improved on. Excuse me. And there's just something about lefties too. They're a little harder to guard at times. That's why James Harden, if you're a really good left-handed basketball player, you can have success. High school, college, NBA, doesn't matter. RJ's got a lot of strength and physicality when he's going to the rim, when he wants to. So this was a very great to see him back. But I know Scottie was the guy last night. His effort that he put into last night on the boards was outstanding, and they needed every bit of that to win the game. Because when you play the Golden State Warriors, someone's always assigned the job to chase Steph Curry around for 24 seconds per offensive possession, and that was Ochai Agbaji and Jamal Shed last night. And there's so much attention dedicated to Steph, which there hasn't been a guy in NBA history quite like him, which is why he's in my top 10 of all time. And kudos to the Raptors for really turning it up the last 5 or 6 minutes of the fourth quarter because it didn't look good there for a bit. One of the reasons, though, that Scottie was able to grab 25 rebounds, this isn't a knock against him. Again, he doesn't do that, they don't win. But Golden State is really small. I had Draymond out there as their center. Draymond's like 6'6", 6'5". He's got a long wingspan, incredibly intelligent basketball player. There's no denying that. Scottie's 6'8". So all Scottie had to do was just get in position underneath the hoop, but he could grab all the rebounds that he wanted. And he did. And that's not an easy thing to do. Not when you're tasked with all the responsibilities that Scottie has to do. Why I brought up Biyombo earlier, obviously Scottie tied his per single game franchise for the Raptors. But Biombo had 25 rebounds in a game. Scottie had 25 rebounds in a game. Scottie has way more responsibilities than Biombo had. Scottie tasked with some ball handling duties, being connective piece on offense duties, defensive duties. He's tasked with being guarding someone pretty good on a nightly basis. So to see someone like him with all of his responsibilities grab 25 rebounds in the game is certainly impressive. And what I hope is that this is a turning point for the team. Sometimes during a season, you have games that are a turning point. The year that we traded Rudy Gay, our turning point was the game against the Lakers when Kobe, I think, returned from his Achilles injuries. That was the turning point for us with DeRozan and Lowry and Amir Johnson in that game. Go back and watch it. We didn't have Rudy Gay on the team yet, but the trade opened up their games. It took a team that was very ISO heavy with Rudy Gay, and it made them more of a team. I'm wondering if this emotionally driven game with a lot of energy being exposed could be the turning point for the team. Seeing your leader exert that much effort, both ends of the floor, grabbing rebounds, getting second chance opportunities. He had a nice pass back to Jacoby Walter for a big three, who's been playing well. Could this be the turning point for the Raptors season? Because it hasn't been looking good lately. You lost to Brooklyn. You only scored 81 points. You gave up 140 basically to the Wizards. You've lost to Charlotte twice. And then you come in and beat Golden State and beat Miami a bunch of times. Team's a little tough to understand at times. They don't know quite what they are. I have an idea what they are. I think they're probably around that sixth place, anywhere from 6 to 10 range. I don't think they're top 5, though. I don't think they're that good. But I hope that last night's game, with Scottie's energy and effort on the boards, with Quickly's big time 3-point shooting towards the end, and he was huge for this team, with Ingram, some of the big shots that he made, with RJ returning, could this be the turning point in the season where they remain maybe a top 5, top 4 team in the East? Or is this just fool's gold? Are we going to go back to see more of that inconsistent play? Are we going to go back to poor physicality and defensive effort? Are we going to go back to a lot of open shots that have been missed? And that is something that Grady Dick has got to be better at. He's shooting subpar 30% from 3. I'm a Grady Dick fan. During the draft that year, beyond and hopeful myself, we basically had Grady Dick, Keontae George, Kobe Buffkin to some degree as the guys that the Raptors should target. Grady Dick fell to us. It was a no-brainer. Like, you had to take him. I had Keontae George only because I didn't think Grady Dick was going to fall. But he did. You had to take him. George is doing really well in Utah. Probably he gets a chance to be an all-star. He's a really good basketball player. And Grady Dick is a big question mark right now. Some of it has been how he's been used in the rotations. Because we saw last year when he got consistent playing time how good he could be. Now that he's not getting the minutes, he's not getting the usage, he's not getting the touches, he's not getting the shot-making opportunities, he's really struggling. And I don't like saying this, Grady Dick will not survive in the NBA if he's shooting subpar 30% from 3. Not going to happen. Whether he's with us or another team. And we need him to get to the next level. To be, I don't know if I want to say contender, but to be that mid-tier Eastern Conference team, because he's got high offensive ability. We know he can come off screens, catch and shoot. We know he can do that. We know that he somewhat create his own offense. He's gotten better defensively this year. He has. Now, there was a couple possessions against Golden State where his defense was really good in the third quarter. We need more of that. I hope Darko will try to give him a few more minutes to get his confidence up, because there's times, and I could tell yesterday, where he hesitated to shoot the basketball. That comes from confidence. Jacoby Walter's making the most of it. He's shooting around 40% from three. Why? Confidence, opportunity. He ain't scared to take the shots. There's no hesitation. Jacoby's got to work on his handle. Got to get stronger. But right now, Jacoby's ahead of Grady in the rotation. And I understand that he's the one who's producing. He's the one who's not scared right now. You know, I fear for Grady that we're going to have a Malachi Flynn situation. Always looking over your shoulder, looking at the score clock table to see who's coming in. Needs to come in for you. Because Nick Nurse destroyed his confidence. And I wonder if Darko's going to do the same. I hope not, because they're two different players. But the situations are slowly becoming similar. So, and we need Grady. You need that offensive ability at some point. But Grady cannot shoot 30% from three. He will not survive in the NBA. That is his thing. That is how he built his reputation in college. Grady needs to be above 36 to 38%, at least. Ideally, he needs to be 40%. Imagine if he was, how good we'd be. Some of these wins that we probably would have pulled off that were really close games. Just those extra points. So, waiting to see. We'll see how this goes. But the big news last night, other than Scottie Barnes, which is bigger news, is play Mo Bamba, baby. Mo Bamba is a Raptor. 5 years too late, maybe, but he is a Raptor. Now, why is this important? Number one, we are the Smurfs as a basketball team, especially in the front court. When Pirtle is out, Scottie is more or less your biggest player. That's a problem because he's more or less having to guard centers when it's just him on the floor, unless Mamu's on the floor. Newsflash, Mamu's not a center either. He as well is like 6'8", 6'9". So we need to bring in some reassurance. We don't know what the Pirtle information is going to be as of this recording. I'm sure maybe it's out, but I don't have access to watch it right now. But I'm guessing Pirtle's going to be out about 2 weeks. Based on what they're saying, what Michael Grange said. Like, it's not like, oh, he's done for the year per se, but they're shutting him down for 2 weeks to see if his back will get better. Back issues and big guys typically don't mix. They're lingering. They're annoying. They're frustrating. Pirtle, quite frankly, has not been himself this year. Last year, Pirtle had the best season of his life. Look at the numbers. Played really well. When he basically played, they were a subpar 500 team. When he didn't play, they stink really bad. So this team does need Pirtle back, but the signing of Mo Bamba is interesting. This is a guy, 6th overall pick quite a few years back. Unbelievable talent, unbelievable size and wingspan and length. But he's bounced around for a reason. Why? Work ethic? Maybe processing a little bit. I'm not sure. That's what I've heard for the most part. Big guys, though, and I'll give him some credit for this. Big guys take longer to develop, typically. Bamba has more talent, in my opinion, than both centers on our team. Like physical ability. His skill set now of being a stretch, 7-foot big, rim protecting center. We don't have that. Ain't Pirtle. It's not Mamu. This is the first time with Pirtle being out, we have two centers, because I'll put Mamu as a center, two centers now who can stretch the floor. We haven't had that since Marc Gasol and Serge Ibaka. And obviously, I'm not comparing the two. They're way out of their league. But it does maybe show of where Darko and staff want to go. And look, Bamba and the G League look phenomenal. He's like a man amongst boys. Like, he does offer rim protection. And my hope is that the Raptors coaching staff, development staff, is really able to work with him, because there's no denying the talent. He went number 6 for a reason. He had some big games in Orlando for a reason. Teams took an interest in him for a reason, but they were never able to put it all together. Now that he's had a taste of the G League, say, whoa, I don't want to be here. I've expected more from my career. I watched him at Texas, University of Texas. Long. You saw upside. And with Bamba, this could be his time. Again, I'm not asking him to be a top 30 center in the league. No. When Pirtle comes back, he's probably the third string center. But Bamba's could be now given an opportunity to show, to prove to himself and to others that he deserves to be in the NBA as a rotation piece. Does he have starter upside? Of course he does. He's 7 foot with a 7'10" wingspan, shooting like 38% from 3 in the G League, averaging a double-double. He protects the rim. He's like a Miles Turner. If he wanted to, if not, I say if he wants to be, but that might be an archetype for him. But we've never had that, not since Serge Ibaka. I would love Serge to come in and work with him. Can he stretch the floor? Can he space the floor for Ingram and Scottie? Can he rim run? Can he be a lob threat? Because if he's a lob threat, we finally have one. And it's been a long, long time since we've had a center who's a lob threat. I can't even think who that would be right now. Is it Valanciunas when he was younger? Nah, maybe not really. But it's been a long, long time since we've had a legitimate lob threat on this team. And he's 27 years old. He ain't 18. He's not 19. He's not 20. He's bounced around the league. Here's another opportunity for him because he's going to get minutes. Can't have Scottie out there trying to grab 20 rebounds a night. It's not sustainable. You can't have Scottie out there trying to go up and put the other 7-footers in the league and grab rebounds. Not sustainable. Eventually, you need someone on your team who can offer that kind of size to protect the paint, to rim protect, and quite frankly, where the game is going, to shoot the three. People love to say how Steph Curry's changed the game. Not saying he hasn't. He has. One of the guys who's changed the game as well, Dirk Nowitzki. Every big now has to shoot the three. If you can't, you have to have some kind of other skill set that separates you from other people. With Pirtle, it's probably how he processes the game a little bit, how he's steady. A little bit of it is length, a little bit of his touch around the hoop. But every big now coming into the game, a basketball, college, NBA, don't matter. You have to be able to shoot. That's something Mo Bamba can do. So my last point on Bamba, but it's related to Darko. Darko came in as a developmental coach. I will give him his props, and I know it's a very, very limited time because he's only on like a 12-day contract. But if this goes well, they'll probably keep him around. If we start to see progressions with Mo Bamba, where you look like you can play him a fair amount, you look like he can be a rotation piece. He looks like he can shoot 38 to 40% from three. He looks like he can rim protect. He looks like he's just a presence out there, and you notice him, and he's rebounding. I'll give Darko and team their props because here is a developmental project for you. You've never had one like this guy. You've never had a 7-foot prospect quite like him. Koloko was the other one. Koloko, not quite the talent that Bamba is. You want your flowers now as a developmental coach and staff? Here you go. Work with this guy. The good news is he's not 19. He's 27. He's been in the league. He's bounced around. I'm sure to some degree there is something to prove for him. Because believe me, when you are a highly touted prospect, the Orlando Magic viewed you as a starting center for the future, and it did not work out, and you're more or less viewed as Hashim Thabit, maybe. I say Hashim Thabit because he was a top 2 pick in a draft for Memphis. You got something to prove. Here is your opportunity, and it's against the Orlando Magic tonight. So, looking forward to seeing that matchup. Seeing Bamba play. I think RJ's going to be out tonight. We'll see about CMB, but I want to move last point now for the show to team building, because I've been asked this a few times. I've been on some college teams, and it's like, well, how do you build a team? How do you build a program? That's more or less what we're trying to say. Basically, to build a college program takes 3 to 5 years. You've got to recruit. Talent matters. Same thing in the NBA. The NBA, obviously, they have paid scouts everywhere around the world. You can't hide anymore if you're good. If you're good, they'll find you. I mean, somebody found Hakeem Olajuwon back in the early 80s, right? Somebody, came across Arvydas Sabonis back in the 80s as well. Can't hide in Russia. Or, excuse me, for him, it would have been the Soviet Union at the time. So, with team building, how do you do it? It's a good question. I mean, there's multiple ways you can do it. I mean, first off, I think you have to identify who is our guy. Who is our cornerstone? Who is our franchise? Who are we, putting that franchise tag on, as they think they do in football? Once you do that, then it's like, okay, we have this guy, we have this skill set. What are the pieces around them? What's the coach around them? Because a coach matters too. Is Michael Jordan as good if he doesn't have Phil Jackson? Obviously, he's a totally different psyche than most players. Does he win as much if he doesn't have a Phil Jackson? Probably not. Does he win if he doesn't have Scottie Pippen, Ron Harper, and Dennis Rodman, and Horace Grant? Probably not. I'm not saying he doesn't win, but he probably doesn't win 6-6. So putting the right pieces around your franchise guy matter. So let's use Scottie for a second, okay? Scottie has a skill set. He can very versatile two-way player. He can defend probably all 5 positions to some degree. We've seen him do it. But Scottie struggles a little bit offensively, kind of creating his own offense. Now it's, what do I need around him that he doesn't have? So, for example, a guy like Brandon Ingram who can create his own shot. Yeah, that fit works. Okay. You also need the personality type too. You might not want to have someone who's going to clash all the time. You have to make it work to some degree. There has to be a little bit of give and take from both sides. So a guy like Ingram, or a guy like Jason Tatum, or a guy like Kawhi Leonard, okay, you need a guy who can get you 25 plus per game. That's what I don't know or don't think Scottie will be able to do in his career. And I don't mean that in a negative sense. Maybe I want to be proven wrong, but I think Scottie's going to be a guy. He'll hover around 20 points a game on some seasons. But he need a guy who can get you 25 plus. Leo Routon said the same thing. There hasn't been many franchise guys who've been on contending teams who don't average over 25. Chris Paul, maybe a couple of years there. The Clippers are really good, Blake Griffin, but they never really knock the door down. I think Isaiah Thomas a couple of the years, but again, Isaiah Thomas, totally different skill set. Someone will say Tyrese Halliburton. True, but Halliburton he can take it up a notch and get you 30 when he has to. It's just not Scottie's skill set, and that's okay. But let's surround him. Let's give him a guy who can score 25 plus. That's one. Um, Kind of the roster makeup, I think, is important as well. If I have a guy like Scottie who's around 6'8", can play, he's a power point forward as well. I'm going to need like a good floor general. And that floor general, ideally, in my opinion, you got to have bigger players. When you look at Milwaukee, like when they won their title, Jrue Holiday's about 6'4", 6'5". That helps. When Boston won, Jrue Holiday, I love him. I think he's great. But he is that prototype point guard you want to have when you're building a championship. It's hard to win with small guards. Beyond and I, and hopefully we've had conversations, but it's true. You got to be really special to win with a small guard. I mean, look at Allen Iverson, Philly. As great as he was so unbelievable. How could you win with him? Small guards wear down. It is a big person's game after all, right? So having a big point guard, I of the mindset that obviously team cohesion, chemistry, it does matter. How everybody fits from a personality standpoint does matter. You don't want to have someone who's going to be a problem in the locker room. That's bad for the team. That's bad for the coaches. Because some coaches who might be scared to get fired start to walk on eggshells in the locker room, and you can't coach. You're done. So you need to have ideally a locker room with guys not too big of egos. And they're NBA players. They all have egos to a degree, but you don't want anyone to just disrupt the locker room. That will be a problem. And more on team building is, I forgot what I was going to say now. Telling you, maybe it's just the holiday season, but I guess more the point is get yourself a 25 point per game scorer. Get yourself a big guard. Designate who's your franchise guy. You need two-way versatility at some degree. You need a stretch big who can protect the rim as well. Nikola Jokic doesn't protect the rim, but he does everything else. Joel Embiid, he does those things. He's just never healthy. Brook Lopez, I heard Louis Assman say we basically live in a Brook Lopez world, which is true. We do. We live in a world where it's a stretch big who can block shots. So a little bit on team building, and it's also a little bit on roster construction as well. So identify who's the guy. Is the coach the right coach for them for a developmental prospect? Is this a coach who has experience as well? Is this a coach who has respect around the NBA from refs and other coaches and things of that nature? Do we have enough shooting for team building, especially today? Not like 25 years ago. You didn't need a ton of shooting. You needed enough, but the game has changed a lot. You go watch a high school game, it's just back and forth, back and forth. 3-ball, 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 3-ball. You watch the same offenses over and over again. So reality is you need guys who can shoot. How many times have we seen the Raptors in the past few years say, man, we don't have enough shooting? It's true. So we'll look to close it there for today. Just a bit of a longer episode for me, but great night from Scottie. Is this going to be sustainable? I don't think 20 rebounds is going to be sustainable, but there's no reason he can't get you 10. No reason. Number 2, Mo Bamba. Give him a chance. See what he's got. He's 27 now. Sometimes you get humbled real quick when your NBA future is on the line. You do what the coaches say. Bring effort, rebound, take open threes, block shots. He does that. Not much more you can ask for. I'm not asking to be Akeem Olajuwon to the post. Not going to happen. Play your game. Do what the coaches need you to do. Set big screens for people. And lastly, for the team building aspect, it's just, again, identify your franchise guy, surround that franchise guy with complementary pieces, have a coach that will work with them, that the franchise guy and the complementary pieces are willing to buy into. Because again, if you don't have buy-in, good luck. It's the NBA. Okay. Thank you, everyone. I know it's a bit of a longer episode. Please take care, and let's go Raptors. Play Mo Bamba, baby. All right. See you.